This is the first installment of the mole ratio videos. What I'm going to teach you in this video is how to solve a one-step mole ratio problem. We're going to use this worksheet as for examples. Okay, so where do we start? We'll always start with a balanced equation. So in this example, we have a balanced equation. Isn't that nice? I already balanced it. Now, it's important to remember the difference between a coefficient and a subscript. The numbers in front of the substance in the balanced equation are the coefficients, and they tell you the mole ratio. Now, if there's no number, like here for the zinc, if there's no number, then it's understood to be a 1. So in this case, we have a 1:2 mole ratio of zinc to hydrochloric acid. There's no numbers in front of the two products, which means they're 1:1. So it's a 1:1 mole ratio. All right, so let's take a look at one of these problems. So if you read through the first one, now I bet you can figure out the answer to this without even setting up a problem. How many moles of HCl would react with 7 moles of zinc? Well, if we look at the balanced equation, we know that it's a 1:2 mole ratio. For every 1 mole of zinc, you need 2 moles of hydrochloric acid. So, yes, you can shout it out. The answer is 14. 14 moles of HCl. Now, I'm going to show you how to set that up so that we have a framework to go by. As with every mole problem we've done, start with the number given in the problem. So we start with 7 moles. Now with these mole ratio problems, we have to add a little more to the units because we have more than one substance we're dealing with in each problem. So we start with moles of zinc. So I'm just going to call it mole ZN. Here's where the units get a little tricky because you just got to pay attention to what you're writing. Now we're going to use the mole ratio to cancel out moles of zinc and to give us moles of HCl. So if we look at the balanced equation, we know it's a 1 mole of zinc to every 2 moles of HCl. So the 2 moles of HCl go on top, and 1 mole of ZN goes on the bottom. Okay, shift return, and there's our answer, 14 moles of HCl, which is what we did in our head anyway. So now you can see that reasoning you did in your head, it can also be replicated with a systematic approach. All right, so just to recap, the 7 is the number given in the problem. 2 and 1 are the mole ratios. That's from the balanced equation. Those are the coefficients from the balanced equation. All right, we'll try one more like this, and then I'll let you try the last 2. So the second one, just read through that on your own, and then we'll set it up. As always, start with the number given in the problem. So 3.5 moles of zinc. And as I said before, I'm going to add on to the unit here to keep track of what everything is. All right, what we're looking for goes on the top, and what we're trying to get rid of goes on the bottom. Okay, the question is how many moles of hydrogen gas? So what we're trying to find is H2. Now if you notice in the balanced equation, there's no number in front of the H2 here. That means that the coefficient for H2 is 1. And we also know that there's no number in front of the ZN. That means that's also a 1. It's a 1:1 mole ratio. Well, you're probably thinking to yourself, aha, I already know the answer. Because if it's a 1:1 mole ratio, then the number of moles of zinc that react is equal to the moles of H2 that produce, and you are correct. The answer is 3.5. Now I'm going to show you, and I want you to follow along in your notes, how to set this up using our mole ratio scheme. All right, so we want H2 on the top. So I'm going to put moles of H2 on the top, and we want to cancel out moles of zinc. Well, 1 mole of zinc. Remember this conversion factor we're using is the mole ratio from the balanced equation. So those coefficients, that's where they come in. And ta-da, our answer is indeed 3.5 moles of H2. Now I want you to pause the video and try the last 2. The answers for all the problems are listed at the very bottom of this worksheet. After you've finished this set and checked your answers, go back and do the next video. Okay.